Order 20-01 in response to COVID-19. And the Metropolitan Council Chair has determined that it's not practical or prudent to conduct an in-person meeting, so we're doing a virtual meeting, which does not make it as easy for people to attend the meetings, but they can attend online. And if you would like to participate in the meeting, please email us at public.info@metc.state.mn.us, and we'll respond to your comments in a timely manner. So with that, it does look like we have quorum, but if we could call the roll to confirm, that would be great.
Barber.
Here.
Gonzalez.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Lilligren.
Here.
Muse. Ferguson.
Here.
Thank you. We have quorum.
Thank you. Are there any amendments or changes to the agenda? All right. Seeing none, we'll move on to the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Lilligren moves.
Second by
John.
Go ahead. Second by Barber.
Okay. Any other discussion on the minutes? All right. Can we call the roll?
Barber.
Aye.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Lilligren.
Aye.
Ferguson.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our first business item that we have is 2021-24, ratification of declaration of emergency for IS network room fire and sprinkler damage. Teresa, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, Chair and Council members. Good afternoon. My name is Teresa Nisler, Assistant Director of IS Finance and Budget, along with Marie Henderson, Acting Chief Financial Officer. We are here to present business item 2021-24 to request ratification of declaration of emergency for IS network room fire water sprinkler damage. For a little background, on the morning of Thursday, December 3rd, 2020, a failure of a fire water sprinkler caused flooding damage to the basement of the Robert Street building, including an information services area of the lower level, which held a substantial amount of production technology equipment. Damage occurred to an area where both production equipment was housed, as well as new equipment set to replace that production equipment, which had reached its regular useful life. Multiple teams, both internal and external to the council, worked collaboratively to bring systems back online and to source replacement parts as quickly as possible. A vendor was also brought in to dry out the affected area to mitigate the risk of further damage occurring from either mold or mildew. The state of Minnesota IT department was instrumental in assisting our in-house team to get systems up and running as quickly as possible and put into place temporary solutions until a full evaluation could take place to minimize downtime. Our internal teams worked effectively to ensure that those critical systems stayed operational or brought back as quickly as possible. Funding for this event is covered by our council's insurance carrier, FM Global. They will provide funding to rehabilitate the building and replace the damaged technology equipment after the $100,000 deductible has been satisfied, which will be funded out of the general fund. That brings me to the proposed action that the Metropolitan Council ratifies the attached justification for and declaration of emergency for rehabilitation of the Robert Street basement area and IS network room damaged by the failure of the fire water sprinkler, causing damage to both areas. And I'm happy to take any questions you may have at this time.
Are there any questions for the presenter? No. All right, seeing none, is there a motion to approve the business item?
So move by Gonzalez.
Johnson seconds.
Okay, is there any other discussion? All right, seeing none, can we call the roll, please?
Barber,
Aye.
Gonzalez,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Lilligren,
Aye.
Ferguson.
Aye,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you. Our
Thank you
others-
very much.
Our only, thank you. Our only business item for the day, we do have a couple of informational items. Mary, do you want to talk about the work plan a little bit, see if we had any comments?
Mr. Chair, I'd be happy to do that. So I think at our last meeting, Marie introduced the straw man of a work plan that kind of covered the normal things that come to the management committee, policies, budget amendments and labor agreements, those kinds of things, procurement items. And opened the floor for some additional items that the council members may be interested in hearing. And I think we got a couple of things that we added to the work plan as a result of that. But I just wanted to kind of make one more pitch for are there things that in the next year you'd like to see the management committee do some work related to, or that the staff bring forward to the management committee for further discussion. And so just open the floor a little bit to one more time. Heard about it last time, and we'll wrap it up this time, and then we'll bring something back in the next meeting to finalize the work plan for the year.
Is there anything else that people would like to see added to our work plan for the year? Councilmember Barber.
Sorry. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted, so I brought up doing a detailed review of the tribal relations policy. Does that just follow under sort of the administrative headlines of the policy and procedures review?
Mr. Chair and Councilmember, yes, we would put that there, but if there are specific policies like that you'd like us to take a look at, and we are doing a review of pretty much all the council's policies and procedures, but specifically that one, yes, we'll make sure that we add that.
Okay. And then the other thing I had mentioned was sort of a review. I know we have a regular review of the continuity of operations plan, but we've never really had to test it like we did this last year. So just want to make sure we emphasize a good review of that, of what worked and what didn't work.
Mr. Chair and committee members, that is definitely something that we want to do as well, kind of debrief and have been doing as a part of our COOP plan. Phil, we can have Phil come back and just talk about what has worked during this pandemic, what hasn't. I will tell you that I feel very lucky that we had a plan and it worked as well as it did. We put us miles ahead of a number of other organizations I know. So, but yes, there were many lessons learned.
Anything else
Chair?
that people? Yep, Councilman Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm actually looking at the work plan as I speak. So I'm interested in more of the global policy discussion on employee benefits, and I see it could probably fit into several categories, but through some of our, and I'll keep this statement very general, but just I'm learning as I was, as we work through some of our labor relations and contract, things like that. But it piqued my interest in benefits in general for employees at the council. And specifically, I was interested in the timing of when healthcare starts for employees and things like that. So I see maybe it fits under the healthcare self-insurance plan update, or it's not really the premiums. It could just fit again under, like Deb said, or Councilmember Barber said, policy and procedures. But my desire is to just make sure that we're being, fair and competitive with the marketplace, but also as we look at our goals for the council, trying to ensure that people also have the resources they need in life to be successful. And so that's just my comment.
Mr. Chair and Councilmember, we can certainly bring an item like that. It sounds almost like a review of our benefits for equity, and how and some of that is within our bargaining, and some of that is within our offerings of what we're covering and when they become available. So we can certainly have a discussion around how that works here at the council.
Mr. Chair, I would appreciate that. And Mary, thanks for being my interpreter of what I'm saying into smaller, more succinct phrases. And it is around equity and also opportunity. So I don't think it needs to be a deep dive, but I'd really like to at least familiarize myself, and I don't know if others would. I can certainly take it offline if the whole group doesn't want to do it, but it was just something that seemed to come up over and over in little bits and pieces throughout the year.
Right.
Okay, other thoughts? Councilmember
Yeah.
Lilligren, anything?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair. And yeah, let me just add my thanks to Mary and her team's work, and especially to this last very unusual year where we all had to adapt so much. And I really want to thank Councilmember Barber for bringing up the tribal relations. And, we're in a discussion, actually, as a council, we're in a few discussions where this is encouraging us to put a finer point on what our tribal relations, tribal consultation policy means in a metro context. So I look forward to that as well. And then just to put a placeholder out there, and I think through this management committee and under your leadership, Mr. Chair, a lot of the equity work, sort of nuts and bolts equity work has been advanced, and really to thank the teams who have been working on it. And also just to note that the Black, Indigenous, and People of Color discussion group has convened, and it may turn out that this is the committee that sort of leads that effort. And although some of the equity work appears within the work plan, there's nothing sort of specific to that. And I know we can amend work plans throughout the year, but just so committee members, and I think just so we're sort of bringing that conversation forward, I think this committee will have just a really rare opportunity, again, under your leadership, Chair Ferguson, to really start focusing this work. So I don't know that it needs to appear in the work plan, but I presume that it will be part of this committee's work. Thanks.
Mr. Chair and members, I'm really happy to put something specific on our work plan as it relates to equity and some things and discussions, outcomes that we would report on, because I think just having it on the work plan says something about its importance. So we can think about how to clearly make that a part of our work plan.
Cool, and thanks, Mr. Chair, if I may, and to the committee members. I mean, through these conversations, acknowledging that this is sort of the most diverse, or famously the most diverse Met Council ever, and to sort of take that seriously. And so this discussion group has come together of the BIPOC members, and we've been trying to be very intentional, strategic, and formal about working within the Met Council framework and engaging the chair, and sort of not trying to get ahead of ourselves. And so, Mary, I would love to see something like you just referenced within the work plan. And my guess is that in the coming weeks and months, we'll be able to really formalize that within the Met Council structure and processes.
Sorry, any other additions to the work plan? All right. Well, we can always make changes as we go if we need to, but I think those are all great additions to the plan, and we'll make those additions, and then we'll bring it back one last time to just have the committee acknowledge the final work plan.
Great.
Thank you. So with that, do we need a motion to close the meeting? Do we have that?
Mr. Chair.
One
Wait a
second.
minute.
I'm
Oh,
sorry, Councilmember Johnson, before we close the meeting, I think there might be an issue with the business item that already passed that they need an amendment to. Sorry, this is kind of on the fly. I didn't want to close the meeting and have to figure out how we could make that change. So this is a little unorthodox, I think, but Marie, if you just want to articulate what the issue is, maybe one of the council members could make a motion.
Yes, Mr. Chair, it was brought to my attention, and Phil is also on the line, that we, in that business item, told you that it was FM Global Insurance Company covering the losses. We still have that $100,000 deductible, but it's actually a company called AXAXL that will be covering those losses.
Mr. Chair, do you want a motion to reconsider, or could it be without objection that update is included in the business item?
I think we can do that. I don't think it has a financial bearing on the council who the insurer is. It's more a point for clarity. So our general counsel might want to tell us what would be the best way to adopt that change.
Sorry, I'm taking a quick look at the business item as we speak. I think Councilmember Johnson's suggestion would be fine, and to direct staff to make the appropriate changes to the business item and the emergency declaration prior to it going to the council.
So without objection, if we could have staff make the appropriate changes to the business item to adjust for the proper insurer.
I would be happy to do that, Chair Ferguson.
All right. Thank you. Are there any objections to that? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Johnson moves that this meeting will be closed to the public pursuant to Minnesota statute sections 13D.05, subdivision 3B, and applicable case law, so the committee can discuss with our legal counsel in confidential setting attorney-client privileged matters.
Lilligren seconds. Oh, I'm sorry. Was that?
Nope.
Will we be coming back into session? We will adjourn the meeting after we complete the discussion, correct?
Correct.
Mr. Chair, my notes say that as well.
Okay. Thank you. So that's the motion then. Councilmember Lilligren, you've seconded. All right. Any discussion?
Yes.
Can we call the roll?
Barber,
Aye.
Gonzalez,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Lilligren,
Aye.
Ferguson.
Aye.
Thank you.